Alright, so, hello everybody. I am on my way to Target to try to exchange some sweatpants that I got for Christmas because they're a little bit big, so I need to see if I can get smaller sizes. And I thought that I would take this opportunity to talk about something that I was thinking about a lot this morning, which is how to handle negative reviews as an author. Now, I often see people in my writing groups posting their 1-star reviews and kind of, I would say complaining about them, but that has negative connotations and I don't mean it that way. They're just kind of looking for some encouragement because of course it always is sad to get a 1-star review, so you want to kind of lament that with other authors and commiserate together. Commiserate together, that's a bit redundant. This is the advice that I always give in that situation, and it's not something that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and not to say that I'm the only one who thinks this way, but it's just, it's something that I haven't really seen anybody do a video on, so I figured maybe it would be helpful for you guys out there. So here is what I like to tell people when they're posting a 1-star review, especially if it's a 1-star review that is just really, really petty and nitpicking little tiny things, or it's just one person, a couple examples, okay? One example I've heard of was someone giving a 1-star review and saying, "I don't remember reading this book, so it must have sucked." That's stupid and ridiculous, obviously, okay? Then another example was someone giving a 1-star review because the book had a lot of swearing in it and they don't like swearing. That's also a little bit ridiculous, in my opinion. I would never give a book 1 star because it did something that I don't personally like. It wasn't bad writing, it just wasn't my preference. Then that's not a reason to give a book 1 star. So I hear a lot of authors kind of talking about this together and encouraging each other, and that's great. But what I always tell people, and I think a lot of authors could really benefit from changing their mindset a bit in this, and just relaxing a bit about 1-star reviews and not getting so frustrated by them or concerned by them. Because here's the thing. Readers are smart. They are, for the most part, reasonable people. And if they're looking for a book to read and they're going to the reviews to see, well, what did the 1-star reviews say? Because if, maybe this book is really bad and I don't want to read it. If they stumble upon a review that's 1 star and it says, "I don't even remember reading this, so it must have been terrible," you know what they're going to do? They are going to roll their eyes and say, "Oh my gosh, that person's ridiculous." And then they're going to dismiss that review entirely and ignore it completely. That's what's going to happen. I really don't think there is a reader out there who would be like, "This book sounds really interesting to me," and then they see a review that says, "I don't even remember reading this," and that is the review that makes them not buy the book, because they're like, "Oh, well, if that person doesn't even remember reading it, then they're right. That book must have sucked because it clearly didn't leave a lasting impact on them." No, a reader is not going to do that. They're going to read that review and they're going to say that's petty and stupid and ridiculous, and they're going to ignore it because that's what we do. And basically, I just would like more authors to keep in mind, if you're reading one of your own 1-star reviews and you think, "Wow, this person sounds petty and nitpicky, and the things they're criticizing are not poor writing, they're just preferences that they have." If all the reasons that they're criticizing your book you think are invalid, keep in mind that readers who are potentially going to read your book are probably thinking the same exact thing when they read that review. So you really don't need to worry about it at all. You can seriously just ignore it, because that's what readers are going to do. They're going to ignore that review because it's meaningless. In fact, someone actually said in one of the comments today that I was reading, and I agree that if I was going to look for a book to read, and I want to look at the 1-star reviews to see, like, did everyone hate this? Like, what's the response? And the 1-star review I find says, I'm giving this 1 star because there was a lot of swearing in it. Personally, I don't really care about swearing, so number one, that's not something that bothers me, so I would be fine with reading it. But secondly, if that's the only thing they could come up with to criticize this book on, then to me, that's a testament that the book is actually probably pretty good if they couldn't think of anything else to complain about other than that they're swearing in it. So basically what I'm trying to say is my number one tip for how to handle reviews as an author and how to let them just roll off your back is, if someone wants to read your book and they're looking at these reviews and all the negative reviews seem really petty and stupid and like silly complaints, the reader is going to just ignore them and buy your book anyway, because they are just as smart as you are and just as capable as you are of being able to tell if someone is giving valid criticism or if they're just being nitpicky and complaining about silly, unimportant things. So, that is my tip for how to handle negative reviews. Now, in this video, I'm more talking about the negative reviews that are kind of, like I said, nitpicky, silly, maybe a bit unreasonable and petty. Obviously, there are some 1-star reviews that are not that way. They are valid criticism. The advice I would give for dealing with those is, first of all, learn from them. If they have a valid critique of your writing, then you know, okay, maybe that's something I should look out for in future books. And if it's just preference things that you're like, well, that's not something I would have changed, it's just something they didn't really like this character, but I like the character, then I would say just let that roll off your back, because people have different preferences and readers have different preferences. And sometimes I read a negative review that's like, oh, I hated that this character was this certain way, and I, as a reader, am thinking, oh, I love characters that are like that. So that kind of just makes me want to read this book even more, you know? So you have to keep in mind that even 1-star reviews can actually sell your book for you. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. I have actually been more inclined to buy or read a book after reading a 1-star review, because the 1-star review is complaining about a bunch of tropes that I really like, that reader apparently didn't like them, but I do. So, all in all, I just really want more authors to realize that you don't need to get so worked up about 1-star reviews. And I'm not, like, I don't usually see authors getting, like, super upset about them. Most of us are, like, mature and reasonable, and we're able to kind of let it go. But, you know, it is always a little upsetting. But I just think everyone needs to keep in mind that, you know, all of the things I said in this video that help me to just kind of let it roll off my back. And yeah, that person didn't like my book, but other people might like the very things that they said they didn't like. And also, if other people don't like those things, I don't want those people to read my book, because they're just going to leave it a negative review also. So for instance, with the swearing example, if someone who really hates swearing in books reads that 1-star review that said, oh, this book was full of bad language, that is actually going to stop them from buying your book, and that is a good thing. You want that to stop them, because if they bought your book, then they would also be upset about it, and they would also leave it a negative review, and they would also tell all their friends not to read it. So you don't want the wrong people picking up your book, and sometimes 1-star reviews can help to prevent that. Reviews in general are good for helping to get your book in front of the audience it will do the best in front of, if that makes sense. So all in all, I don't think it's really anything to be too concerned about if you get some 1-star reviews, unless they're things that are like, your editing is terrible, or your grammar and spelling is awful, or, really like obvious mistakes. Then those are valid criticisms that you should listen to, and you should try to maybe change it in that book if you feel so inclined to fix it and republish. But if not, you can at the very least take that into your next writing experience and make your next book even better. So that's all I have to say. Just something I was thinking about this morning, and I wanted to talk about it because I know that getting negative reviews is hard, and I hear a lot of people letting it get to them, I think, a little more than it needs to, and I'm not judging them for that or saying like, oh, just let it go, because I totally get it. I'm just saying I wish more people understood how little of a problem this actually is, so that they don't have to waste their energy and their emotions getting upset about something that actually is really not gonna hurt them that much and might actually help them. So just something to keep in mind, and that's it. I'm at Target now, and I'm gonna go exchange these sweatpants. Hope y'all had a great Christmas. I'll be coming at you soon, probably with a New Year's video, talking about my goals for this past year, how I did with them, and my goals for next year, because New Year's is one of my favorite times of the year. I love to just set goals, and I love hearing other people's goals. Those are the type of videos that, if I see them pop up, that so-and-so put up a goals video, I click immediately, because, I don't know, there's just something inspiring about it to me to see what everyone is planning for the year. So that should be coming soon, and I'll see you then. Bye!